Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for January 22, 2024. And in the news this afternoon, opposition alarmed at the decision to interdict a NEPA officer. The parliamentary opposition has expressed a shock over the decision of the National Environment and Planning Agency to interdict its officer who first identified the breaches at the controversial Charlie Mount Drive apartment complex. The individual was interdicted last week. According to leaked documents, the officer who was sent on interdiction on January 17, pending further investigations, is accused of bringing NEPA into disrepute and of inefficient work performance in that he failed to carry out established enforcement procedures in regards to monitoring the development. In an interview with the news, opposition spokesman on finance and the public service, Julian Robinson, said he was baffled by the decision of NEPA. He said the officer who alerted NEPA of the alleged breach should not be facing disciplinary action for doing his job. He is urging NEPA to tell the country how it arrived at this decision.
It really does not send a good signal to whistleblowers that having identified a problem and having brought it to the attention of management, that person is now the person who is the subject of an interdiction. I think it is important for NEPA to indicate the basis of this interdiction, what process was followed to interdict Mr. Henry, and also what is NEPA doing internally to correct the breaches that were identified in the Integrity Commission report. The failure to prosecute someone in this case could not fall simply at the feet of one individual. And for public confidence, NEPA needs to indicate what review they're undertaking. But without more information in the public domain, it is deeply concerning that the whistleblower is the person who is interdicted in this case.
The Charlie Mount Drive development is owned by President of the National Water Commission, Mark Barnett, and his wife, Annette Francis Barnett. The couple escaped prosecution for breaching the environmental permit for their development, as the time had expired by the time action was initiated. Children's Advocate welcomes plan to ban corporal punishment, urges promotion of meaningful alternatives. Children's Advocate Dan Gordon Harrison has welcomed the plan to ban the beating of children by their parents and relatives. Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced last week that the government intends to introduce legislation to ban all forms of corporal punishment. He was reacting to a video in which a mother is seen stomping on the head and the neck of her daughter. Mr. Holness said abuse of children by their parents is being disguised as a corporal punishment and that legislation to criminalize these acts are coming. The Children's Advocate, speaking with the news, voiced support for this approach because we agree from the Office of the Children's Advocate that corporal punishment is abuse and it's a violence. She noted that extreme acts of corporal punishment, as reflected in the video in question, when you have a parent breaking a child's arm in the name of discipline, when we have a child who is the victim of extreme stomping on the neck, must be deplored and outlawed.
Because certainly we agree from the Office of the Children's Advocate that corporal punishment is abuse and it's violence, and especially extreme acts of corporal punishment which really catch the imagination and the attention of the nation. I think we can all agree when we have a parent breaking a child's arm in the name of discipline, that is violence. When we have a child who is the victim of extreme stomping on the neck, that clearly is violence. But at the same time, I think any legislation that comes in to treat these acts of punishment as they should be taught, we need to ensure that there is an accompanying public education program that will really guide parents in a very practical way. We have to guide children. Discipline is important. Teaching them principles and values and the positive attitudes must be taught. So the question is, if we take corporal punishment away, which many people see as the default discipline, quote unquote, we have to educate them as to workable alternatives that will ensure that we are not having children run loose, but certainly understanding the underpinnings of discipline and values and positive behavior. So yes, I welcome the announcement, but also hope that there will be adequate funding that is provided for a very robust and holistic parent education program as to workable and meaningful alternatives to corporal punishment.
Disabled man attacks a rival in alleged love triangle. A man who, in a fit of rage, attacked the mother of his child in the bathroom of a fast food establishment upon witnessing her enter the facility with another man was left nursing both emotional and physical bruises last Thursday. The man, who relies on crutches due to partial incapacitation from leg injuries, had to be rescued by the police following the altercation. The bizarre incident, which unfolded in St. Catherine, began after the man reportedly barged into a bathroom where the woman allegedly entered with another man. Enraged, the man used his walking aid to deliver blows to the other man. Associates of the accused retaliated by heaping blows on the partially disabled man. The female managed to escape with minor injuries and subsequently delivered a blow of her own. The news understands that the woman, who stood as a surety for the man in a rape case before the courts, surrendered his bail to the police. The bruised ego man was then taken into custody. Man borrows a soldier uniform to impress girls. Eager to boost his chances of being released from prison on parole, a corporate-era man pleaded guilty to being unlawfully in possession of a Jamaica Defensive Force uniform. Zenon Smith reportedly borrowed the uniform from his soldier friend in order to try and impress girls. He is currently serving a prison sentence for illegal possession of firearm stemming from a 2022 incident in which he was found with a JDF-issued uniform and an illegal gun. The uniform is said to belong to Fabian Mitchell. The Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court last Thursday heard that on October 26, 2022, Smith was driving a Honda Civic in the Olympic Gardens St. Andrew area in the vicinity of a checkpoint when the police noticed that the vehicle spun around and sped off. The vehicle was subsequently intercepted in the corporate area. During a search of the car, an illegal firearm and a knapsack containing the uniform were allegedly discovered. Mitchell, in a caution statement, reportedly said, "I gave Zidane Smith a set of JDF uniform because he wanted to impress girls." The men were charged with unauthorized use and dealing in military decoration, aiding and abetting unauthorized use of military decoration, conspiracy to deceive, and a false pretense. Last Thursday, Smith's attorney, Shade Bailey, told the senior parish judge Lauren Cole Montague of her client's desire to plead guilty at the earliest opportunity. He wanted to shorten proceedings, Your Honor. He is serving a 3-year sentence for illegal possession of firearm and has parole board in March. He wanted to have a clean slate by then, Bailey submitted on behalf of Smith. He wanted to deal with this matter by March because if he misses it, he may have to wait until September, Bailey added. Judge Cole Montague acceded to the lawyer's request, and the prosecutor and Bailey agreed that Smith should return to court on February 15 for sentencing. He was remanded until then. Mitchell, who is on $500,000 bail, is to return to court on March 10. Drunk man cuts a cousin over rum. A man will have to compensate his cousin $40,000 after he admitted to cutting him on his face with a knife because he was denied a drink of rum. "I was intoxicated," explained Dane Hart after pleading guilty to unlawful wounding in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday. It was shared that Hart and his cousin, the complainant, were patrons at a bar in their community of Red Light District in rural St. Andrew. The court heard that Hart asked his cousin to purchase rum for him to top up on his special. The complainant refused Hart's request, and Hart used his ratchet knife to inflict a wound to the complainant's face. Senior Parish Judge Lauren Cole Montague was not amused by the allegations. "You see the effect that drinking can have? You can lose the effect of your consciousness. I tell people all the time that the strongest thing I drink is soda," she remarked. The complainant indicated his interest in being compensated for his doctor's bill, medication, and missing days from work. The total figure is said to be $40,000. Hart made the first payment of $16,000 in court and is to return on February 29 when the remaining funds are to be paid. Sentencing has been postponed until then. recording.